It is week 43 of the Trump administration, and we're changing it from the Trump Roundup. It'll still be called Trump Roundup, but it's Mueller time this week. And
oh, they're so stupid.
And so, yeah, we're calling this unofficially, it's Mueller time, because it's gone from, now that the indictments are happening and all the people are getting plucked out of obscurity left and right.
The ball is picking up speed.
What was that I saw on Reddit earlier tonight, or Twitter earlier tonight, where it's like Donald Trump is facing a tsunami of legal? Because I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but I mean, when I wrote these notes, I didn't have this in there yet. But in Panama, I think it's in Panama. Trump in Panama.
Oh, yeah, that whole shit. Yeah,
that's a money laundering.
That is a huge deal.
Anyway, they're saying that there's just going to be, like, okay, now that they're starting to see all this other stuff, they're going, okay, let me take it back a little bit further here. And I hate having to do this. But does anybody remember what happened with President Clinton and Monica Lewinsky? It wasn't originally a inquiry into him being with other people consensually.
No, it had nothing to do with it.
It was started with the special prosecutor, starting out, or special investigator, whatever the fuck you want to call it, coming out, and it was about originally Whitewater.
Yeah.
The shady real estate dealings that they said was shady, even though they found hardly anything on it. I think there's one person went to jail. I think
it was like, yeah, there were some people who were involved who were kind of shady.
I was a shitty 16 or 17-year-old kid when that happened, and I wasn't quite as politically expedient as I am with this stuff nowadays. I mean, I paid attention, but never to the level that I have in the last 2 years. But anyway, what happens with special investigations is they technically sometimes start off based on, this is what we're going to investigate, and they start turning over rocks. Well, they've turned over some rocks in the Trump investigation that are pretty hard for you to fucking turn back over. So it's at the point where they can't, because any prosecutor worth their fucking salt would say, shit, we were looking for this, but we came across this. They're not going to say, okay, we didn't find what we were looking for initially. They go, we didn't find what we were looking for initially. However, this crime
find a whole other shit, a whole other pile of shit.
And so he's facing a lot of other shit when it comes to like money laundering, and because they're getting Manafort on that kind of shit. They're going to get Gates on that shit. They've already got Papadopoulos lying on stuff, so he was wearing a wire to whatever the fuck he was talking about.
Right.
And you have all sorts of other people that are just going to start coming out of the woodwork, snitching on his ass because they don't want to go to prison.
Right. They just got. They're getting. They are going to get Kushner.
Yeah. Because he lied.
He just perjured himself.
Yeah.
In his testimony.
And what's interesting
was that wasn't even a hard one to do.
Trying to see if I have anything about that in my notes here. It's not only just Jared Kushner, but you also have Donald Jr. Who released, thinking it was a good idea, his correspondences with
such an idiot
fucking WikiLeaks. And he's trying to say, hey, keep this off the record. Do you not understand who WikiLeaks is? They put everything on the record, even the stuff that, back when they actually had a soul of a website, before it was,
sort of
a laundering
when they pretended to have a soul.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I have no love for them. When they first started doing this kind of shit, I'm like, this is dangerous. This is
that's super dangerous. And the big problem with their whole platform is that the information they're acquiring and releasing is it's not vetted.
No, there's no journalistic integrity there at all.
It's not filtered. There's no context. They just take it and dump it. They just take information they receive and they put it out.
Which is why, I'm not saying I catch shit about this from liberal friends all the time. I don't like Snowden. I don't like Private Manning. I have nothing against them personally as people, but their actions were very fucking sloppy. You know, when Manning released a lot of the information that made it out to the public, they did, or she did exactly what WikiLeaks did. Released a bunch of cables to WikiLeaks, and they just made it to the internet. And in that case, I'm against leaking of stuff like that because it's not got done with any kind of journalistic integrity. Right. I give Snowden credit because he did go through a journalist to release the stuff that he did.
Right. There is that, but
I'm just not a fan of.
There's a lot of there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of nuance to this.
Yeah, and so we definitely can't cover it here right now.
Can't cover it. There's a lot of nuance to it. Yes, there was some information that did serve the public that was released.
Some.
Yeah. Some.
A bit.
Yeah. But there were better ways to do it.
Absolutely. And so what's happening right now is that Robert Mueller has issued a subpoena for any Russia-related documents from the Trump campaign officials. So
because they keep forgetting to turn over information.
A lot of information.
It's time for legally binding subpoenas.
And so they were told quite a while ago, do not destroy anything, do not delete anything, do not get rid of anything. So they were told by the FBI, hey, don't do this. You have to keep your shit integrate. Like, what is it? You have to keep everything. So where it starts with an I. Sorry, I can't remember the fucking word.
Integral.
Integral.
Maybe.
Like you have to have document integrity. There you go. You have to be able to keep all the shit out there. And they probably haven't been following through with that because if you remember,
of course they haven't.
Every campaign usually deletes all the millions of emails they get if Bush is any kind of indication. Let's see. And so it says here that congressional investigators, meanwhile, have expressed dissatisfaction with the document productions from top Trump officials, including Mr. Kushner. On this past Thursday, Chuck Grassley and Dianne Feinstein of the top Democrat in the committee said in a letter to Mr. Kushner's attorney that the response they received to an earlier request was incomplete. So in their letter, the senators mentioned a document that Mr. Kushner had forwarded involving a Russian backdoor overture and a dinner invite. The letter doesn't give any other details, and they didn't respond to questions about it, but it's looking like he's given himself enough rope to hang himself with. And
yeah, easily.
My only hope is that they get these guys on not just federal, but state charges on a lot of this stuff, because, well, especially the Don himself, because he's slippery enough that he could probably squeak by. But I hope they get him on something else. What else happened here? Jared Kushner's WikiLeaks emails. He was talking with them, of course. And it said, this is the same people, Chuck Grassley and Feinstein. We appreciate your voluntary cooperation with the committee's investigation, but the production appears to have been incomplete. It says, we provided, and then the lawyer wrote back, said, we provided the Judiciary Committee with all relevant documents that had to do with Kushner's emails, contacts, or meetings with Russians during the campaign and transition, which was the request. So there was a section of the letter titled Missing Documents. Grassley and Feinstein said had handed over some materials, but omitted communications that mentioned some of the people connected to the investigation.
Right. The problem with the voluntary thing is the people being investigated are usually not the best judges of what is or is not relevant.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Kushner, to have the kind of security clearance that he has, you had to fill out a specific form, it's SF-86. And if you lie on this, or you omit things, whether willingly or not, you face felony charges on this thing.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't pertain to rich people, of course, but...
Of course. But you know, that said, mistakes on those documents are very common.
Mm-hmm.
It is not uncommon for anybody who has to fill those forms out to have to go back and make corrections because they forgot to put something in. Yeah. Now, those corrections are usually small or minor. You forgot to include
the address that you lived at this time.
You know, the address, or, you know, a contact that you had that you may have forgotten about or just forgot to include.
Because you have to disclose every foreign national that you are in contact with.
Right. So yes, it's not uncommon for those things to be be missed, for mistakes to be made on that form. So corrections need to be made all the time. But the amount of omission and the number of times, even after correction, that they're still missing information, that's a flag. Mm-hmm. That's a big red flag.
And two more red flags that we have here. One of them is that a $500 million yacht belonging to a Russian oligarch has pulled up nearby Mar-a-Lago. And guess where Trump's going next week?
Oh.
Wonder what's going to be going on there.
Guys are just...
You don't have any sense of optics about this at all. And the real interesting thing to me is that I think that might be part of what's going on here, where I'm going to talk about, where I think the Russians are ready to bail on Trump. I think they're ready to start handing shit over.
I'm pretty sure they are,
because
they're not getting what they thought they were going to get.
No, and so Sergei Kislyak, the guy with the chin that's expanding further than his his neck is expanding further than his chin. Mm-hmm. He looks like the guy from the end of the RoboCop movie where he got dumped in the toxic waste before Boddicker runs him over.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Google that one, kids. He said
he looks like John Leguizamo from Spawn.
Yeah. Come here, Spawn. I'm gonna beat you up. Love that, man. That's two Leguizamo quotes, and
I know. 2 in 1 show.
I know, right? Kislyak said on Wednesday that it would take him more than 20 minutes. I've written stuff that takes 20 minutes to talk about, and that's a lot of fucking words. He said it would take 20 minutes to name all of the Trump officials that he's met with or spoken to on the phone.
That's not an insignificant...
That's a lot of fucking names, man. He says, first, I'm never going to do that, he said. And second, the list is so long, I'm not going to be able to go through it in 20 minutes, he said. It's ridiculous, man. And
well, I don't know. You could always just say all of them.
And this just comes on top of fucking Jeff Sessions going through his congressional thing. Where he's like, I don't recall.
That hearing was just
infuriating. It was just I haven't been quite as mad as I had been at that. It was just fucking ridiculous that they went through that. Anybody else that would say I don't recall that often, you probably wouldn't let them keep their job. That's my opinion on that, at least.
Yeah.
Man. So somebody says that when they were talking to Kislyak, they said it almost became comical. They said he gave the impression that only because he met the American officials that they got in trouble. So yeah, pretty much you're the Russian fucking ambassador, aka the network of spies, the good face to the spy network that you guys have going on here. So, and Kislyak told interviewers that the idea that Russia picked America's president was nonsense and very sad. Yeah, I might understand that you guys didn't pick Trump to be the president. I think you guys were trying some stuff and you got an overwhelming success of what happened. And you're like, holy shit, that worked. Oh, look what we're stuck with, though. Oh, man.
It worked. Oh, no, this is not what we wanted. No, this is not.
Ugh. Hey, guess what? You break it, you buy it.
Yeah, shit.
Wait, that almost sounds kind of like they own us in America. Nope. Let's not go there.
Nope.
So anyway, Robert Mueller's got he's got a lot of work to do, but at the same time, they keep making it fucking easy for him. They
really do.
They're quite possibly the dumbest criminals I've ever paid any kind of attention to at all. It's just they're inept at everything, and
it's I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's going to be part of their defense. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong. If we thought we were doing something wrong, would we have done it so badly?
Ignorance of the law is not, doesn't excuse you from it.
I'm
right?
kidding. Yeah.
I didn't know I was fucking a guy in the ass. I don't know what's going on there. Well, too bad you did.
I didn't look through the glory hole first.
It's amazing that Manafort is facing, what was the charge that he got where it was like a conspiracy against the United States? And I'm like, that's some Benedict Arnold shit right there, man. That's
that's really close. That is really, really close.
It's crazy. Well, I hope Mueller has a fun next couple of years. And we've said it on the show before. I don't know if it's been on segments like this, but you don't get lawyers that were easily pulling down 7 figures in their posh offices to give up their jobs to go and work for the ex-head of the FBI as, lawyers without, them potentially being in history making kind of legislate or some kind of court proceedings.
Yeah, no. These guys don't none of the people involved in that investigation need that job.
And if you want proof of why you should have more chill when it comes to this kind of stuff, just look at Preet Bharara. He was the New York attorney, or he was the federal attorney for the District of New York, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he got fired by Trump. And, he could have got really mad about it, like Sally Yates and stuff like that. They both could have got really mad about that. But at the same time, they've been pretty fucking calm about it, especially Preet Bharara. I mean, he was working on some lawsuits, obviously, that probably got shuffled under the table.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah.
However, all it takes is one phone call from the federal court to be like, hey, this was going on in our state. You should probably look into this. And so now, instead of just having federal court proceedings happening, you now have state proceedings. So it's going to be really interesting. And I'm not going to put any money on it, but it'd be really interesting to see if the Trump campaign gets some sort of RICO. If they get tried on RICO laws.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
No, I mean, because they acted very mafioso, and you get in bed with a fucking Russian mob. You're not going to have a very good time at all.